Living Life Fully. It was April 6, 2015. I was living in the suburbs of Albany, New York, where I was stationed at with the U.S. Army National Guard. I was married to someone who was stationed at Fort Drum. Me, with however being in the National Guard, I was with the state of New York and was working about 4 hours away from Fort Drum. I remember it was a beautiful Saturday morning and the weather was nice and it wasn't too cold and the sun was shining. I was getting my stuff ready that morning to go to Fort Drum, not only to see the soon to be ex husband, but to file our tax returns. Because it was April, of course. I was getting ready and my phone rang. It was one of my daughters just calling in to check on me and see how I was doing. We talked for a little while and then said to each other, "Have a great day." Shortly after the phone call, I packed up my car, getting ready to head out for the horrible 4 hour drive. The drive was empty sometimes. With it being early spring, nothing had started to bloom. Before getting on the highway, I stopped to fill up my car with gas so I would not have to stop on the way, which I hated filling up my car with gas because it was a little on the expensive side. And then when you have a vehicle like mine at the time, which was a 2014 BMW, which was one that I worked very hard to get. The car was also able to be marked off of one of the things that I have or do off my bucket list. So I was proud of myself. Well, anyway, I filled up, got on the highway, the same highway driven many times. The scene was beautiful that morning. Light traffic, sky was blue, and I was jamming to Sirius Radio. I believe the station was Classic Rewind. Just some good old 70s classic rock which is one of my favorites. So I'm driving. I hit a little construction work on what they call the Twin Bridges going over the Hudson River. And with all the traffic diverted to just one of the bridges, westward traffic was on the eastbound side with dividers in between of the 4-lane highway. I was cruising at a speed limit, the speed limit because highway patrol was out still in the westbound lane. I heard a pop and the sound which you would consider with being blowing out one of your tires. Well, I thought, well, I have the run flat system. The dealership is just the exit down. I will slow down a little bit prior to that. I will slow down a little, but prior to that, the pop noise I saw was a semi truck coming up on my left, and I thought, well, it's bigger. I will let it fly by. And then when I heard the pop, with me still maintaining my lane and speed, I noticed that the truck was getting very close. And then all of a sudden I found myself going down the highway sideways. The semi truck had swiped me from the side and turned me sideways and T-boned me in the middle of my car. I clearly remember the airbags going off, lots of noise hitting the steering wheel and glass breaking. I also remember I saw my kids, then my father, then my grandfather, who are now both deceased, telling me it's going to be all right. And that was it. Next thing that I remember, people all around me yelling and screaming, and the voices coming through the speakers, which was saying, "Ma'am, are you okay? We have an SOS of airbags deploying." It was a very eerie feeling. After all this happened, I looked at life a lot differently. And I try to live every moment it's my last. I always send little notes to my family just saying I love you and hi, because you never know when it'll be or their last time. Just remember to live life in the moment. It may be your last.